Bond. James Bond.
Mr. Bond, I suppose you wouldn't care to, raise the limit?
I have no objections.
C'est pas possible, madame, c'est illégal, monsieur.
Nah.
Welcome to your weekly ticket. Patrick Wilson will step behind the camera for Insidious 5. During Blumfest 2020, Blumhouse announced Wilson will be making his feature directorial debut with the sequel. He and Ty Simpkins will reprise their roles as Josh and Dalton Lambert from the first two Insidious films. Insidious 5 will pick up a decade after the events of 2018's Insidious: The Last Key and sees the Lambert son Dalton heading off to college. Jordan Peele will be producing a remake of The People Under the Stairs for Universal. The 1991 horror satire that was directed by Wes Craven just celebrated its 29th anniversary this past weekend. The original film followed a young boy and two adult thieves who became trapped in a house belonging to a strange couple after breaking in to steal their rare coin collection. Peele will produce the new version of the film for Universal through his company Monkey Paw Productions. Today we're highlighting the career of Sean Connery, whose career spanned 5 decades and who passed away at the age of 90. He was best known for his portrayal of James Bond after being the first actor to bring the role to the big screen in 1962's Dr. No. He went on to appear in a total of 7 of the spy thrillers. Daniel Craig, who's the current Bond, paid tribute to the star, writing, "Sir Sean Connery will be remembered as Bond and so much more. He defined an era and a style. The wit and charm he portrayed on screen could be measured in megawatts. He helped create the modern blockbuster. He will continue to influence actors and filmmakers alike for years to come." This week, we're diving into some of the best spy films of all time by taking a look at Fandango Now's list of spy films across multiple genres. From historical gems to action-packed blockbusters to absurd comedies, there's something for just about every mood on their Spy Games staff picks list. This week, we have comedian, host of the Mad Titan podcast, and one of my favorite guests that we've had on this show here to help us break this list down. That, of course, is Jay Washington. Jay, there is obviously a lot to unpack here, but what do you think is your number one must-see spy movie on this list?
My number one must-see spy movie is Kingsman, the first one. And this is not a takeaway from Taron Egerton's performance or Colin Firth, but the phenomenal Samuel L. Jackson. Not only do you get Sam Jackson dressed up like a college sophomore ready to go to a rave party as soon as he get through his studies in the library, but you find out how villainous he really is. And then he offers Harry McDonald's. You understand how evil person you got to be to offer somebody McDonald's? You got to be real evil to do that.
I mean, they have the spicy nuggets now. I don't know.
If that's the way, I mean, I think that's even more heinous. You're like, I don't care about your gastrointestinal system at all.
There's a lot of fun lore behind that movie, too. Didn't Samuel L. Jackson decide to do the lisp himself? Wasn't it? I think it was his idea. That
was his idea. It wasn't in the script. You know, it wasn't like, yeah, we want this character to dress this way, be this way, and have a list. He was like, no, I'm just going to add a list for Valentine because I think it's the best thing for the characters to have. Like, what, sir? Huh? Okay.
And it's iconic. It's great. I love it. The whole thing is filled with personality.
The church fight, the church fight with Freebird in the background is arguably one of the greatest fight scenes I think I've ever seen in any film, because it comes out of nowhere. You think, okay, it's going to be a few people, and the level of murder, you're like, oh, you're just like stuck with it. And so Kingsman is like my top, one of my favorites. And if I had to give you a close second, it's the first Mission Impossible, of course.
Now, obviously, when people think spy movies, they think of James Bond. Now, if you were looking forward to the last James Bond with Daniel Craig, you're going to have to wait a little bit longer. So what is an underrated Bond movie that you recommend?
An underrated Bond movie that I recommend for you all to check out is Quantum of Solace from 2008. It caught a lot of flack because it wasn't the traditional Bond movie. This is the first major blockbuster Bond film. and also has way more violence than any other Bond film beforehand. Afterwards, we're like, we'll see a lot more violence, but it set the bar for what the new level of violence was. This is our second go round with Daniel Craig in the role. He's comfortable with it officially now, and we have so much action. Again, you give me Jeffrey Wright again, I am so fine with that. I'm so fine. I was so mad what happened with Peter Mattis's Green, but that's another story.
Now, let's say that someone is trying to get into spy intrigue, but they don't want to necessarily watch a James Bond movie. What's a great spy thriller from this list that doesn't have James Bond in it?
A Long Kiss Goodnight. Samuel L. Jackson and Gina Davis is Charlie Baltimore. You got to go there always, man. Like, that's an underrated movie in itself. Like, those who know the film, they praise it. We love it. We consistently watch it. But those who have never heard of it, when they first get introduced to it, they're like, wait, why aren't there more of these?
Absolutely. Well, Jay, thank you so much. You're absolutely one of my favorite guests that we have on this show. Where can people find you?
Twitter, Instagram at Mr. J Washington. Also, the Mad Titan podcast, like he mentioned earlier, and Blurs in the Hood. Myself and Winston A. Marshall every Tuesday and Thursday, live 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. on the East Coast.
Man, nailed it. All right, man. Thank you so much. Have a good one. Available to watch in theaters on Friday is Let Him Go.
I saw exactly what I've always felt about Donnie Weeboy. And I saw that girl can't protect her child.
Margaret, Jimmy is her boy.
He's your grandson.
Following the loss of their son, retired Sheriff George Blackedge and his wife Margaret leave their Montana ranch to rescue their young grandson from a dangerous family living off the grid in the Dakotas, headed by matriarch Blanche Weeboy. When they discover the Weeboys have no intention of letting the child go, George and Margaret are left with no choice but to fight for their family. Academy Award nominee Diane Lane and Academy Award winner Kevin Costner star. And available to watch at home on Friday is The Informer.
We go along with the general's plan. Evidence of fentanyl being methodically distributed inside a state prison buries the general for good. And if that happens, you're a free man.
Pete Kozlow is a former special operations soldier working as an informant for the FBI to help dismantle the Polish mafia's drug trade in New York. But when the FBI's operation goes wrong, resulting in the death of an undercover NYPD cop, Pete is coerced into returning to Bale Hill, the prison he previously served time in for manslaughter, to take down the cartel from the inside. The film stars Joel Kinnaman, Ana de Armas, Common, and Rosamund Pike. Alright, well that's it for today, but check out that full list of spy films in the link below and leave us a comment and let us know which one is your favorite. I'm Kale, and I'll see you next time.